Welcome, this is Adam from Anything Strange, and tonight we're going to remember Wes Craven, the master of horror, by talking about a couple of true stories that helped him inspire A Nightmare on Elm Street and Freddy Krueger. As most of you know, Wes Craven is known as the master of horror. He's the writer-director of a ton of great horror movies, including The Hills Have Eyes, The Last House on the Left, the Scream franchise, and most notably, Nightmare on Elm Street, the whole series. He's a big inspiration of mine as a filmmaker and as someone into horror films. What I personally loved about Wes Craven is he was a horror filmmaker, but his movies were not completely supernatural. In fact, he didn't like the supernatural. Most of his movies were based off of real newspaper articles he could find, and that even includes A Nightmare on Elm Street and The Hills Have Eyes. And then he would kind of add his own twist or creepy subplot to it, or creepy characters. So he kind of took real stories and turned them into something more than they were, which is why I really respect him and thought his movies were, creepy on another level. The story that kind of sticks with me the most, I read about Wes Craven in some interviews a long time ago, was what got him, or what gave him the idea to make A Nightmare on Elm Street. And it's loosely based off of a true story. He found some newspaper articles about a group of refugees who fled to America after their country was being bombed, and this group all started having nightmares, and one by one they would wake up in the middle of the night screaming, and then they would all die in their sleep, and no one really knew why. Nightmares were causing them to die, but nightmares weren't known to kill anyone else. It was just this group, like something was chasing them or had followed them. And the one story that stuck out most was of a young boy who lived with his parents, and he kept telling his parents, "I can't go to bed. There's something after me in my dreams. If I go to sleep, I will die." And as any parent would, they kind of blew it off and told him, go to sleep, go to sleep. It's just your imagination. And they finally gave him some sleeping pills and said, "Take this, you'll be fine, you'll wake up in the morning." That night when the boy went to bed, his parents heard a scream. They ran into his room and found the boy dead. He had actually died in his dream. In his closet, they found a hidden coffee pot where he had been drinking coffee to keep himself up because he was truly that frightened that something was after him. They found the sleeping pills they had given him because he refused to take them, and that kind of rules out that the sleeping pills had anything to do with his death. So whether he died of something that frightening that was chasing him in his dream, or just the fact that he kept himself awake so long, is up for debate and may never be known, but it's kind of a creepy story that led Wes Craven to write A Nightmare on Elm Street. And that's kind of something I find fascinating because everyone dreams, everyone has nightmares, and you never know what a nightmare may really bring. Wes Craven is also such a great horror filmmaker because of the characters he creates. And Freddy Krueger is probably the best example of that, being one of the, if not the, scariest monsters in movie history. And the idea he got for Freddy Krueger came from when he was a little boy. He lived in the city. He slept in a window kind of overlooking the city. And I remember in an interview he was talking about one night he looked out the blinds and there was a hobo walking by in kind of ripped up clothes with like a messed up looking face who just kind of peered over and looked straight into the window like he knew Wes Craven was watching him, and he just stared at him. And after this little eye contact stare down, Wes Craven shut the blinds, freaked out, told his brother or whoever he was with, and then he waited a little bit. He went to open the blinds again, assuming the hobo was gone, and the man was still right there just staring at him. And he kind of gave him a hiss. And this just stuck with Wes Craven, and he grew up always remembering this moment of just how could some old man want to go out of his way to terrify a little boy. And so when he went to write A Nightmare on Elm Street, that was the character he thought of most, that creeped him out the most, was just an old man who tortured and terrorized young children. And that was the origin of Freddy Krueger. So I just wanted to share a couple of these stories I had seen and read in interviews with the master of horror, Wes Craven. And like these stories stuck with him from when he was little to when he made his movies, these stories stuck in my head. And one of the first short films I wrote was actually related to dreams and about when you die in dreams, do you die in real life? And it wasn't really a horror film, so I took it a different route. But I was definitely inspired by Wes Craven's story. And I just want to thank him. He has been an inspiration. He will be missed, but not forgotten. So thank you, Wes Craven. I'm going to go rewatch all of his movies. I encourage you guys to do the same. Thanks for watching. Peace, love. See you guys later. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and if you want to see more strange stories, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment on this video. As always, we encourage you to do your own research if you enjoyed this topic, and don't forget to check out last week's episode. Also head over to our new message board, anythingstrange.com, and for now, I'm Adam, bringing you stories about anything strange.